I just want to thank everyone who's joining our session today from all across Canada. This is a Heritage Fair chat featuring the recipients of the 2018 Young Citizens Program. So these are the national recipients of Heritage Fairs, which of course take place all over Canada. And they're going to be speaking with you today about their experience in Heritage Fairs, their experience making videos, doing history research, and we're really excited to hear from everyone. For those of you who have joined us today, we encourage you to introduce yourselves using the chat window in the bottom. And we know that we have a number of classes registered from all across Canada, and hopefully you're getting excited for Heritage Fairs. And we hope that our young citizens here will inspire your students to take on some research and some exciting projects. And thank you all again for joining us. If you are a participant watching, we encourage you to close down any other programs that might be interfering, things that run lots of memory and whatnot. And I think that's about it. I just wanted to introduce the recipients, introduce Brooke Campbell, who's going to be, who has really set all of this up and moderated everything, will moderate everything for us. And I'll just briefly explain the program. As many of you probably know, the students before us here today are the 6 winners of the Young Citizens Program. And they started out making a Heritage Fair project in their school, in their community, and each one is going to introduce themselves shortly, so I'll let them do that. And all of their videos were posted on our website, youngcitizens.ca, jeunescitoyens.ca. And we had a public vote. We had judges reviewing all the videos. We had, I think it was just over. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm going to stop talking because this is about the young citizens. So I'm going to turn it over to everyone to start introducing themselves before this whole thing crashes. And I'm not sure if Basil, yeah, he's here. So maybe we'll start up there and then I'll hand it over to you, Brooke, now.
Perfect. So hello everyone. Like Joanna said, my name is Brooke Campbell and I'm the digital media intern here at Canada History. And I will be the host today. But what I'm really excited about is my 6 co-hosts. We're here with the 6 winners of the 2018 Young Citizens Program. And these individuals are all so fantastic. They've done great research, made incredible videos. They're fantastic spokespeople for the programs. And really they know what it is to make a good and award-winning Heritage Fair project. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from them and hearing all their tips, tricks, and advice. And so I'm going to hand it off to them to introduce themselves. Basil, why don't we start with you? Basil, can you hear me?
I'm sorry, I left my mic.
No worries. Why don't you introduce yourself, okay?
I was introducing myself, but I realized that the mic was muted. Alright, so my name is Basil Ashtan. I am 13 years old, and I'm in grade 8. I live in Charlottetown, PEI, and I did a project about treaties of peace and friendship with Indigenous Canadians, you know, covered 60, 100 years ago.
Hi, I'm Kiana. I'm 12 years old. I live in Calgary, Alberta, and I did my project on the Vietnamese boat people and their integration story into Canada. My name is Shereen, and I'm in grade 4 right now, and I'm 9 years old, and my project was mainly about Indigenous people and grizzly bear and the First Nations message that everything's connected.
Hello, my name is Joshua Conception. I'm a grade 7 student. I'm 12 years old. I'm attending Holy Ghost School. I live in Winnipeg, Manitoba. My Heritage Fair project is #RealHero. My project shows about Louis Riel's life.
I'm Oscar. I'm 12 years old. I lived in Charlottetown, PEI until about 3 months ago when I moved to Windsor, Ontario. And my project is on my great-grandfather, the spy from PEI.
Hi, my name's Remy Willett. I'm 13 years old. I'm in 8th grade, and I did my project on Pascal Poirier. He is the first Senator Acadian.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for introducing yourselves. How did you even choose your topics in the first place?
I had tried for the Heritage Fair the year before, so when I was in grade 5. But from that experience, I learned I needed to do something that nobody else was doing, something individual and unique. So what I did is I went into my family history, and this one I've always loved World War II history, so but I'd never read the spy part of it because it's not in the books. So I decided I wanted to learn more about the spy side of World War II in my grade.
I wanted to do my project on something that was about history, but kind of relevant to today, and also related to my heritage.
Me really, I asked my family, my grandpa, that, and he gave me some suggestions, and when he said Pascal Poirier, so really and he's native from my province, so really just made sense for me to do a presentation on him.
The message that everything is connected is not many people know that message, and it's really obvious actually in all our lives. Like if we do something else might happen. And I chose the grizzly bear partly because it was an iconic animal for the British Columbia Northwest Coast, but also because I thought it really represented the fact that everything's connected.
Alright, so in 2016, I did a project about my journey from Syria to Canada and how I was positively treated when I first arrived in Canada as a refugee. And in 2017, I did a project about Indian residential schools in which I shared Charlotte and Margaret's stories, who are two Mi'kmaq people from Shubenacadie Residential School. There are two survivors from Shubenacadie Residential School and how they were abused because they were Indigenous children, which made me feel guilty. And this year, in 2018, I learned about treaties of peace and friendship, and I realized that being the best treaty person I can be was the best solution to my guilt. I put 3 years of what I learned together, and boom!
So when I was reading my history book, I came across Louis Riel. And then I read about how he fought for the Métis and rebelled against the Canadian government. This made me interested, and it made me
I started interviewing all my relatives and hearing their different perspectives. I also interviewed some other Vietnamese people that came here to Canada that Vietnamese just know as like a family friend.
Me, it was just really the internet, books, my family,
My turn. In 2017, when I did my project about residential schools, I read two autobiographies by Larry Lowy. The first book was called As Long as the Rivers Flow. He wrote about his last summer before he went to the residential school in Cree culture and family. In his other novel, Goodbye Buffalo Bay, he wrote about his experiences being taken from his family to the residential school and being abused for speaking his language and communicating with his siblings. Learning from Larry's experience made me help with formulating questions to ask Charlotte and Lawrence and Charlotte and Margaret, who are two Mi'kmaq people. And I went to Lennox Island, that's the place where Charlotte and Margaret lived in, and I met them, and I interviewed them and asked them questions, and they were very helpful. And I then spoke to an expert on treaties of peace and friendship. Tammy McDonald works at the Mi'kmaq Confederacy. She was very, very helpful.
My first step was I went into my family archives and I pulled out everything I could find on my great-grandfather. So a lot of like old like letters and stuff. I found a really useful documentary made about Camp X, the spy training camp in Canada, made a few years back, 2001, something like that. I got a lot of information from that, but I also used the internet a fair amount because you can't find it in any of the books. And even on like the Camp X website, there's almost
How I really did my presentation was I searched on Google using the internet the map of First Nations culture around British Columbia. So I found out the grizzly bear, where most of its habitat is, where. So our teacher actually made us study this person and First Nations artist named Roy Henry.
So first of all, I just I got my information research mostly from my book, and then I started researching on the internet, and I started asking people for information, what they know and what they think about Louis Riel. And then I created an online survey, and then I gave it to other people for them to fill in, submit, and what they think about Louis Riel.
It sounds like a lot of you guys used some similar tactics, from going to historic sites and museums, talking to family and experts, going out and trying to seek new types of sources and books and the internet. So it's awesome to see all these different types of resources, because I know anyone else who's participating.
So, at first, I needed a good quality camera and audio equipment, and thankfully, Rick Cuddle offered me to use his excellent, amazing camera. Thanks a lot, Rick. And then I represented my project into the video, and it applied to the indigenous ways, and it's the circle. So at first I started and I talked about my dream, and then I went through all what I did in my projects in the past 3 years, and then I went back to where I got. So at that point, you should have understand my project. That's the circle. I just told you what my dream was, and then went through everything, and then got back to where it was.
For the video, I knew I couldn't do it at a historical site, because really the only historical site for my project was in Ontario, and it would be kind of hard to fly out there. So I knew that all my video would have to be done in my house. So I based it around that. But I watched a lot of other historical.
I think I did that by mistake. Sorry.
Um, um, the way that the way that I formed my video, was really, I knew that I wanted to film at the house that I grew up in. That was my main part of the video was the. So really, I just built around it, and when I went to edit my video, the form that we did, the people that we helped me, and we just based all the
I
information.
kind of wanted to do something that showed everyone how many people, Vietnamese boat people, there really were, and then something that was interesting and captivating. So I did it in multiple different places, like different sections of the video in multiple different places. And I kind of wanted it to be like,
Yukiana or Shu.
almost like an interview with like everyone. For me, my video, what really helped me was I went to the museums museums. I visited some of the sites like the First Nations, and I found out.
So I wanted like my style of the video, like I wanted like to put up, like make something. I wanted, well, like first of all, I like explored the city and visited places.
Topics that are really for grade 6. There's for heritage history. There's always history. If you're if you're interested in sports, there's history in sports. You'll always, if you're interested, find a topic that is interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you, Amy. Any project works as long as you do good research and like just have a project.
Yeah, I agree with them.
Though, one of the things that I found really helped is that I found that
And yeah, any topic works, just as long as you're passionate about it and you find it interesting and it's something you want to be doing. Might have experienced.
Well, my advice is that you shouldn't pick anything too hard. Is just do anything that you think you can do on your level, and remember to research and know your project. Take advantage.
Luckily, I met Charlotte Morris at Human Rights Day. Tom Hilton from the Human Rights Commission thought it was great if I met her because I was doing the project about residential schools at the time. And we met, and after a while, after she knew me for a while, I asked her if I could interview her about her experience.
Yeah, really for me, when I interview the person, the historian, it really just
Well, for my project, all the people I interviewed I knew personally, so it's a good idea if you know someone that could relate to your project. You could interview them because then kind of it's less
The comments, I see that Oscar added make friends and Shuyu added interview anyone related to the project. So those are other two good pieces of advice.
What I did is I just read over the topic over and over and over again, so that even if I wasn't perfectly on script, I could essentially just talk about the topic and it would relate to my project. For the video itself, I did have just a computer open with everything written on it, but I tried to memorize as much of it as possible so it didn't look like I was reading. And there were some points where I just improvised, because
yeah, I agree with Oscar. Really, when you're presenting,
Uh, Alright, awesome. So,
yeah. For my presentation, not the video, but like the trifold presentation, I had different pictures and paragraphs that I could see, and every paragraph were my main topic. So I just show whoever I was presenting to, I just show them the paragraph, and then I talk about it. And then when I move on to the next thing, I can use the next paragraphs. So for the video itself, I had small clips pieced together. So before every small clip, I would review the notes I should go over and what I want to cover in that scene. And then I would, like Basil said, I would practice and then I'd do the scene. For me, when I did the trifold presentation board, well, a lot of what I did was I did stories, and I had more that I tried to tell, which were related to my key points. So I memorized like 2 or 3 of the stories, and then eventually what happened was I would memorize these stories, I would say them, and then the other stories would come to me. So that was a way for me to memorize them, and for my video, really it was just like recite everything over and over again, and then you would just say it in front of camera like there was no camera.
That's great tips. Joshua, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I just have some advice for anybody who's planning to do a heritage fair. One, if you're gonna do a trifold board, don't worry about presenting everybody the whole thing. What I did is I just present people little bits of it. So like one per little person, I present them like one paragraph. Next person, I present a different part. Just so that, because no one's gonna stand there and listen to you for 5 minutes. They'll just get bored. So just present little bits. And if they're interested, keep talking. If not, don't. The other thing I noticed is when you're doing it, don't be afraid to use the internet. While we were doing it at my school, I saw a lot of people who didn't really want to use the internet because they were kind of like scared of it. Find a couple websites that you find are reliable and use like official websites and use those for research. But you should use the internet. There's a lot of good information on there.
For me, it was really just
To
deliver the main message. It was like deliver the message and then you can say something else. I find that once you have a topic, everything ideas just kind of float into your head, and you'll slowly start getting more and more ideas, and you'll be like, oh, I should do this, and then a couple minutes later you think of more ideas. So as long as you have a good topic and you're passionate about it, and you have lots of ideas for how to research and everything else, and like an idea of how to present it, everything kind of just flows after that.
And another good piece.
Thank you everyone for joining. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.